Tonight, protesters gather in Port Augusta to rally against a nuclear waste facility, and the region receives an early taste of summer.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. More than 100 protesters rallied in Port Augusta against a proposed nuclear waste facility in Kimba or Hawker. Supporters brought traffic to a crawl as they marched through the town.
Blocking roads and chanting in unison,
"Always was, always will be Aboriginal land."
The message from more than 100 protesters is loud and clear.
Put the government on notice that this is enough. We're going to stop this process right here, right now, and the fight is only just beginning.
The office of local member Dan Van Holst Pelican becoming the focus of attention as a rally against the proposed nuclear waste facility spread through Port Augusta.
It's not the right place for a nuclear waste facility.
2 sites in Kimba and 1 near Hawker are shortlisted to host the storage zone. But traditional owners in the Flinders Ranges say putting the facility at the Wollabedina site would tarnish the ancient Seven Sisters songline.
Once again, it's genocide on Aboriginal people. Our voices in this country is not heard.
While grain growers in Kimba are concerned their profit margins could drop under the government plans.
The decision to put radioactive waste on farmland is wrong. The only reason people want it is because of the money.
The federal government has previously said the facility would provide 45 ongoing jobs for the successful town, as well as more than $30 million in benefits. And with the Kimba ballot soon to finish and the Hawker ballot soon to begin, protesters say their ongoing fight has no sign of stopping anytime soon. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Emergency services were on high alert today, with windy and hot conditions sweeping across South Australia. Local CFS urged locals to avoid risky activities such as angle grinding until the cool change arrives.
A scorching taste of summer ahead, with dangerous spring conditions sweeping South Australia.
Hot and windy conditions are expected to develop over South Australia throughout Thursday. There's the potential for gale force winds to be experienced through parts of the state.
The CFS was on high alert today, with increasing temperatures and strong winds creating dangerous fire conditions.
Yes, we are. We're prepared in the Regional Command Centre for anything that may pop up.
Broken Hill experiencing major dust storms throughout the day, reducing visibility for motorists, and authorities have already been busy in South Australia responding to a number of calls this week.
One around Wanilla, one at Eda Lily. Person was burning off apparently and he ran out of water.
However, there's good news with a cool change sweeping through the region tonight, giving locals a much needed relief.
A very strong cold front is expected to then move through during Thursday evening, and the forecast maximum temperature on Friday is 19 degrees, which is a massive jump.
Authorities are warning locals to prepare for summer.
Don't do anything stupid. That's all I can say is don't. If you've got some work to do outside in a paddock or outdoors and there's grass around.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Whyalla Stuart Primary School is working closely with SafeWork SA to combat a recent asbestos scare. The Department of Education was forced to alert parents when dangerous materials were found in recently laid gravel. They say the gravel will be actively removed out of hours and will remain fenced off from students. However, authorities confirm it may take over a week to remove. 2 Whyalla motorists were caught drink driving overnight. A 34-year-old Whyalla Stuart man was stopped on the Lincoln Highway just before midnight, allegedly blowing .248, nearly 5 times the legal limit. Police also allege the man was unlicensed and his car was unregistered. A few hours later, just after 2, a 23-year-old man allegedly blew .153, with further checks revealing his licence was expired. Both will appear in court at a later date. A teenager has been left injured after his car crashed on the Flinders Highway on the outskirts of Port Lincoln last night. Just before 6, emergency services were called to the scene of a Toyota utility that had left the road and rolled several times. The 19-year-old driver from Port Lincoln was treated at the scene before being transferred to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigations are ongoing. Police have confirmed fatigue was a factor. The future of this year's Broken Hill Christmas pageant is uncertain. Organisers say nomination numbers are down from last year, sparking concerns it may have to be cancelled.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, but at the moment it's looking bleak. The 2018 Broken Hill Christmas pageant saw 55 floats parade down the main street, one of the biggest turnouts in recent years. Despite those record numbers, the annual procession is in danger of cancellation in 2019. So far, only 15 float nominations have been received. That number needs to be doubled for it to go ahead.
Even though we love to run it, no matter how many floats we have, it's just a massive undertaking to operate the event, so we really want to have at least a minimum of 30.
Organisers are putting the call out to local businesses and community groups to put an entry in.
So it's open to everybody, so even we've had individuals put in just a car that they've decorated before, so it's really open to everybody.
The call is also out for not-for-profit groups to set up stalls at the pageant's after party in Sturt Park.
Any organisations out there that want a fundraiser, you can sell food, drinks, ice creams, just get in touch with us and we'd be happy to talk about that with you.
Nominations close at the end of next month. The pageant will be held on the 7th of December. Patrick Ryanke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a new campaign urging us to wave to a truckie. And Port Lincoln's retirement home launches a weekly community meal. Welcome back. A new campaign in Port Lincoln hopes to encourage people to show their support for truck drivers by giving them a wave. It's hoped it'll help address the pressures faced in the transport industry.
A new sticker set to show support for truck drivers. The Wave to the Truckie campaign set to create a positive movement on our roads.
So I'm hoping that the Lower Eyre Peninsula can embrace the truckies on our road, give them the space they need to negotiate corners and roundabouts and all those things, and just make it a safer way of sharing our roads together.
With community concerns over increased truck movements following the railway closure, Diana says it's a timely reminder to look after each other on the roads. And with harvest kicking off this month, truck drivers will be out in force.
A lot of them are travelling great distances. There's a lot of mental fatigue, and I think that mental health aspect's been a little bit neglected in our truck drivers and our road transport users.
The campaign encourages drivers to give truckies a wave and show support for what can be a difficult job.
You know, might make us feel a little bit more welcome, sort of, especially coming into small country towns and stuff like that.
So I think just having some empathy for the road users is a great thing, and just brightening their day.
More than 100 stickers have been handed out over the past month, with more in production. For more information, visit the Wave to a Truckie Facebook page.
You know, wave to a truckie.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A wireless sports group has celebrated National Children's Week through various activities. Organisers say it's important to bring parents and children together.
A hop, skip and jump for 84 tiny community members brought together for Kindy Gym Fun.
It's a big celebratory event for us in working with the Academy of Gym Sports. So we approached them to see whether they might be interested in doing an event for this special week for young children.
A large turnout of both toddlers and parents.
The session today was fantastic. It was so nice to see lots of parents out, and especially some dads, which we don't see very often. That was really encouraging to see the dads out engaging with their children.
Fun. Lots of fun for mums and dads and kids.
Organisers say Children's Week is a perfect excuse to get kids active and engaged.
And the time we spend and put in now is important for the rest of their lives, but also for the future of a town or a country.
They're encouraging other community members to also get involved in the program.
it's important for families to understand that not only just is childcare, but we've got playgroups and you've got kinder gym as well too, to establish different motor skills and learning skills as well.
Yes, I'm very happy with the turnout, and we're hoping that in future we'd be able to do more sessions and involve more of the community.
Shari Hams, Seven Spencer Gulf News.
Health professionals gathered in Port Augusta today for a forum discussing healthy living for seniors. Organisers say it's all about learning how to support people living at home.
The health of our oldest and dearest, today the focus of conversation. Representatives from across the state putting forth initiatives to encourage independent living in our regions.
We have an ageing population. It's really important to have services in the community so that the ageing population can stay in their houses longer and live independently.
Nursing homes now becoming an option to the elderly before it becomes a critical necessity, with degrading health and lack of transport the biggest issues.
It often happens because we lack imagination, I think, as a community about how we can support people better to be at home.
Bringing together both metro and regional care providers, the forum taking critical steps to ensure aged care standards are met.
It's a matter of sharing those ideas and what's working well and what can be implemented within other organisations.
Discussions like these becoming an integral part of the future of our older generation. Laura Milovanovic, Seven Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln's local retirement home has received $250,000 to start up a weekly community dinner. Organisers say it'll help combat social isolation within the elderly.
It's a cash injection to put on a feast for the town's elderly. The Silver Service project aims to turn the tide on social isolation within retirees.
So what we're offering is an evening meal for our elderly community members to reconnect them into the community.
The project was a pipe dream until the local retirement home received a cash injection of more than $200,000 from the government.
The money helps us to obviously staff it, to run our transport and the meals.
The weekly dinner was first pitched to help combat loneliness within the elderly.
Social isolation for elderly people is a huge problem, especially being in a rural community. You know, people lose their spouses, they lose their licence, they decline in health, all of those kinds of things.
All my family work, so I have, before I came here, spent a lot of time on my own, and I'm not a lonesome person.
89-year-old Owen Newton says she can't wait for the dinners and to make new friends.
I don't like being on my own, and I'm not on my own anymore.
The first dinner is set to be held next month. Nathan Regter, Seven Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll take a look at what's biting in the Gulf, and Alex will join us with the weekend weather forecast. Hello again. Broken Hill community groups still have the opportunity to apply for local government funding. Round 2 of Broken Hill Council's community assistance grants are closing very soon.
There's just days left before applications close.
This is the time, and the time is now.
There's over $70,000 up for grabs in this round of the City Council's Community Assistance Grants. The scheme aims to support local not-for-profits and organisations, whether it be for facility upgrades, covering venue fees or funding for an event.
What it means is for every one of us that everyone in the community will benefit from whatever they're doing, and that's why we've developed these grants.
Applications for the funding close next week. So far, only 3 submissions have been received. Council says with so much money available, it's a great opportunity to kickstart a project.
There's a number of groups that have done it, and they've really been happy with the grants. And sometimes there's a lot, but this time there's only a few, so we're asking people to really get together.
Grant entries can be filled out on the Broken Hill City Council website. Staff are offering to help any applicant that needs advice. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Time for a look at what's biting in the Gulf. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, it's starting to get really hot now. Those hot days are certainly here. Crabs are going really well, nice and big and full of meat. There's a few sheebacks around, but try not to take those if you can. The kingfish have gone absolutely bunter at the moment. At the top of the Gulf, down around the powerhouse, they catch them on rods and reels. Silver whiting, I'd actually try up here in the beach. They're doing a bit of grading on the beaches up here in town. So on the high tides in the mornings, I'd get in there and throw a line. That's all we have from the Jewel North.
Hi, Whalers Fishing Report this week. The King George whitings certainly have heated up across Whyalla. Now's the time to go out and get them, guys. They are in great numbers. Best areas to target have been all around the Mount Young broken bottom ground. Definitely the deeper water has been the best, and a lot of the whiting have been in the larger size. Also, snapper have just started to fire up a little, getting a few fish off the Leeton, and also further south, work the deeper waters for those. Down towards Point Lowly, there's been some really big numbers of salmon coming in from the rocks, and a lot of them have been good sized as well.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, we've all got 1 week left to try and catch a snapper. So if you're keen to catch a red before the season finishes, Buffalo Reef has been holding some fish up to around about 60 centimetres. And yeah, there have been some scattered fish out there. Moving over to Coffin Bay, there's been garfish and tommies within the bay system. There have been a couple of nice gummy sharks caught over the last fortnight in the bay, which is a good sign. And whiting are pretty reliable through the farm beach grounds at the moment. Well, that's all for this week. Happy fishing, and we'll see you again with more tips next week.
And time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex.
Good evening, everyone. It was a scorcher today, but relief is in sight. Temperatures were well above average. Port Augusta reached 41 degrees. Whyalla and Port Pirie were both 39. Port Augusta's sunny reached 32. Broken Hill was sunny and 36, and it reached 37 in Adelaide. Taking a look at the satellite, and cloud in the north is generating the odd shower with skies clear elsewhere. On the waters, westerly winds reaching 30 knots, seas at 2 metres, and sunrise is at 6:29 tomorrow. A touch of winter tomorrow with temperatures dropping significantly thanks to a cool change. Port Augusta 26 degrees, Whyalla and Port Pirie 23, Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay showers and 16, Woodner 20, Quorn 25, Broken Hill 29, and rain and 19 in Adelaide. Looking ahead to the next 4 days, cool and cloudy in Port Lincoln over the weekend before the sun returns on Monday. Cleve partly cloudy and 21 Saturday, 22 Sunday before rising to 28 Monday, and similar conditions in Woodner with the temperature jumping into the 30s early next week. Dry and partly cloudy in Whyalla this weekend. Port Augusta will cool down 23 Saturday, 25 Sunday before reaching 32 on Monday. And Kadina will be partly cloudy Saturday, showers on Sunday, drying up into next week. Some partial cloud in Port Pirie reaching 29 by Monday. Clare will be cool and partly cloudy before jumping to 27 Monday. And Broken Hill will be dry and sunny over the next 4 days. And with that, John, it's back to you.
Thanks, Alex. And that's your local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have some updates later on, but until then, enjoy your evening here on 7. On behalf of the team, it's good night.